Latest episode of Crew Talk for y'all. RealTWC in the building. Just JB, Reef, Carlton. We are here for all of y'all, talking, doing what we love to do, talking about pro wrestling, and let's get to it. So, what does everyone want to talk about? No, how to do that, Cody Rhodes?
The landscape.
Cody Rhodes right there. What did you say, Carlton?
The landscape. Let's talk about the landscape. So
it's AEW Forbidden Door tonight, and this pay-per-view is stacked with a bunch of, I think it's like 12 matches on the card. So, we could have a whole, breakdown of the entire pay-per-view. But we had some breaking news actually that just sprung up. Adam Cole, baby, is not going to be on the card due to an illness. No idea if this is a warp or not. It appears as though he's actually sick and something happened. He's actually out of the card. So that's a shame because we all love Adam Cole. He's he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. So that's definitely a dent to the pay-per-view. But the card's so stacked that I feel like they should be all right. So I'll just get right to it. What do y'all think the match of the night's going to be? Because I have an opinion.
I think definitely Kenny Omega and versus Will Ospreay. I think that match. I think those two people are underrated. Like nobody really talks about those two on the indie scene that much. But like Kenny Omega is phenomenal in the ring, and Will Ospreay should be talked about a lot more. So I think definitely that match. I think that's going to steal the show.
Okay. Now Kenny Omega, I know he's I don't know if everyone here. I know there's people out there who don't adhere to Meltzer or anything like that, but I feel like Omega's gotten 10 5-star match ratings. I think he's a great wrestler. I think I saw I saw him versus Bryan Danielson on a free TV match, and it was incredible. It was incredible. So and I've heard a lot about Ospreay over the years. I've heard he's I know he's among the best wrestlers on the planet. Probably of all promotions, there's probably people who would argue him as top tier 1. I know a lot. I've heard a lot about him, so I know that match is definitely going to be a banger. I would say probably that's a good call, Reef, but I would probably say Bryan Danielson versus Okada. I think Danielson, he still has a lot to give in the ring. I think he's been pretty consistent his whole career. You can argue, we've had our Mount Rushmore talks before. I know one time on a thread with us, we talked about the draw. We did the Seth Rollins way of doing Mount Rushmore, where you have the draws and the stars and you have the performers. And for me, I said that I forget, who did I have? I think I had HBK. I had HBK. I had Jericho. I'm probably going to be missing somebody because I'm going off the top of my head right now. But HBK, Jericho, maybe Kurt Angle or Bret Hart, something like that. But I was saying the fourth person I would include, who would knock somebody out, is either going to be Bryan Danielson or Seth Rollins. So I think that Bryan Danielson is that good. So I have a hard time thinking that he wouldn't have the best match or the show-stealing match of the night. So we'll see what happens. And that's that in regards to that. What does everyone think about the return of CM Punk? CM Punk finally came back.
Again.
Yeah, he came back again. So, Carlton, you're saying, do you even care? Do you even care about it?
I don't care. It's the same thing that happened. What did they do? CM Punk came back where? In Chicago. He came back again where? Chicago. He said the same thing, tried to do a pipe bomb, and didn't really do anything for me. I'm just being honest. What did CM Punk brought back? He came back out of shape. He couldn't even wrestle. To me, he came back and he has a lot of talk, but at the end of the day, he didn't really do anything for me. It's the same show, different day for me, personally. CM Punk left, honestly, on some controversial stuff.
Yep.
Tried to bring up something,
Yep.
has a bag of a belt saying that you never lost it. Well, if you weren't doing the stuff backstage in the first place, you probably wouldn't have got off the show in the first place. And then now you're going to try to come at MJF's title run saying that you should be the champion. Like, I kind of get it to an extent, but I mean, to me, it's the same show. Like, I've seen it before. I've seen you come back. I've seen you do a pipe bomb, and you came back and you still couldn't even wrestle. Everybody else held you up in your return match on, was it Collision? Yeah. Yeah. So, no offense to CM Punk. I mean, you blocked me anyway, so it's okay. So, don't worry about it.
He blocked you?
Wait, what?
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. I understand.
Wait.
Breaking news.
Wait. CM Punk, you blocked a crew member? Wait, what? Wait. Okay, Carlton.
See, that's what happens when you become honest. But you know what? I do the pipe bombs too, CM Punk. I let you know what's going on. And because you blocked me, it's okay. I'm not taking it personal. I'm just saying you can do a lot better with the storyline. That's all. That's all I said.
All right.
You can do a lot better.
All right. Well, interesting. Okay.
Elaborate. We're talking, right? We're crew talking. So
yeah, man.
We're crew talking. So I'm just being honest. I'm just saying. Right. I'm like, CM Punk has done that. He did it in WWE with the pipe bomb. Yeah, you won the title. You went to AEW. You came back in Chicago. You did the same thing. Then you faded away. Then you won the title. You faded away again. You came back, and then now you're fading away even quicker.
All right. Okay. So that's some crazy. That's some breaking RealTWC straight up news right here. Our brother, our member, Carlton got blocked by CM Punk. Wow. Come on, Punk. Anyway.
Just unblock him.
Come on, man. Wow. All right. Well, it's interesting. So, Carlton, you're over it. You're over CM Punk. Reef, what do you think?
I'm not over him.
Okay.
It's one of them things where, like, okay, so CM Punk, he has the momentum. He had the power. It's just that you need to use it. And if you're not using it the right way, you're going to try to throw, like, Kenny Omega and everybody else under the bus. Then you got to back it up and come back. And you came back and did the same thing. Like, you're very predictable now. Like, everybody else he's talked about in WWE, like, he talked about predictable, coming at John Cena and everybody else about being predictable. He came back and did the same thing. Where are you going to come back in Chicago? Why? Because if he came back in Philly or New York, you would have got booed. I'm just being honest. Nobody cares.
Carlton dropping, yo, bro, you're dropping truth bombs
am I
right
lying?
now.
Am I lying though?
No,
like,
I don't think you're lying.
I feel like AEW is protecting him still, even after you try to throw AEW under the bus. They're protecting him to bring him back only in Chicago. He's only been in Chicago for most of the time he's been back. Why? Because that's where he's from.
And he'll get the pop.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's all they want. So it's just like, I'm over it. Like, you're protecting him for what? You take off the diaper, CM Punk. Take the diaper off. Let's go. Like, man up. Like, do your job. Sorry. Okay.
All right.
On that
no,
note.
man. No, please.
Yeah.
Go off. This is great. Go off, bro. Go off, please. We got your back up for whatever, man. Hey, go off. This is wow. I know someone had the audacity to block a crew member. That's insane, especially someone like CM Punk. All right.
And let me put this out there to all the TWCites out there, okay?
I like that.
I'm not taking it personal. I'm not. I'm just saying he could do better. I want CM Punk to succeed. I want him to do his best. Believe me. Even if he came back to WWE with a big pop at the Royal Rumble, I would cheer it. However, you cannot come back and do the same old gimmick and same old thing and be protected in Chicago. That's all. I'm just over it. Like, I'm over this. I'm over it. Just retire at this point.
All right, so we got some like straight up raw energy from Carlton here. Like, all right. So
yeah, I've had that
one member of the group feels that Punk is it's the same thing over and over again. At this point, if you have nothing else to give in terms of all the shenanigans that have been going on, just retire. Reef, how do you feel? There's nothing else to say.
Oh, my goodness. No, I think from a professional standpoint, right? Right, he had a problem in WWE.
Right.
Carlton mentioned problems in AEW.
Right.
I think he's just right off into the sunset. In my opinion, he's not that much of a needle mover.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Like Carlton mentioned, like in Chicago, that's a different story, right? Chicago's his hometown. But outside of that, I don't see people that are. So obviously he gets the wrestling fans, but outside of that, right, trying to attract other people, not necessarily wrestling fans, but casual fans. I don't see him bringing in those type of fans. But yeah, just to go back with the unprofessionalism, it's just he's had problems everywhere. So you can't, in my opinion, you can't dish out that kind of dirt to the public. And I gotta criticize Tony Khan too. Like Tony Khan should have grew a set of balls. Like he just basically gave him a slap on the wrist and just welcomed him back, like to AEW Collision. Like he gave him like the AEW Rampage kind of treatment. Like here's the red carpet, go out. So I mean, obviously from the standpoint of promos, of course, like promo, he adds that value to AEW. But in my opinion, it's only going to be a matter of time until something else happens. And I don't know what they're going to suspend him again. He's going to come back. So I think he should just ride off into the sunset. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, cool. And this is definitely a scorching hot segment right now, and I love it. I'm here for it. Because that's what we do. I think, just to bridge off what you two said, that, Reef, you said that he's not a needle mover. Carlton, you said he just goes to Chicago and like he gets his big pop and rinse and repeat. For his unprofessionalism and his attitude, he acts like he is a needle mover when outside of the hardcore strain of smartdom within the wrestling industry, he is not a needle mover. The evidence says no, he's not. But he acts like he is. He has the attitude that he is. No one should act like that. But if you heard that like a Roman Reigns acted like that, actually, I'll go far back. If you heard Austin walking out, no, I don't condone Austin. I didn't condone Austin walking out, but I can see this is going way back for anyone that listens to this that's younger out there, because we know we got y'all youngins, the super youngins in our base too. So listen right here. When Austin walked out, it was a big deal in 2002. At the time, The Rock had surpassed him in stardom, but he was still Stone Cold Steve Austin. Still top tier one in the company. He didn't want to have a match on Monday Night Raw and job to Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw. He thought it was stupid because he thought it was wasting money. I can see the justification in acting like that, but Austin also had he acted like that and felt he could act like that because he's Stone Cold Steve Austin, like one of the top 3 wrestling stars in the history of North American pro wrestling. Like that's someone who I could see, whether you agree with it or not, earning the right to have an attitude like that, even if you think that it's wrong. I get it. Punk, you're acting like he acts. I feel like he acts like he's that. And, while I think he, obviously, as y'all said, promo wise, and, he's had classic matches. We get it. You know what I mean? But like, nah, he's not that guy. He hasn't been that guy. I know a lot of his fans like to think he's that guy or think he's going to be the guy to move the needle like that. But evidence has shown so far that he's not quite, which is okay. That's fine. That's fine. But if that upsets people, if that is something that you want to debate with any of us about, we want the smoke. It's fine. Go ahead and debate with us. You can hit us up on the DMs on RealTWC on Instagram. You know, we talk to people all the time. No problem. You can see me in the comments. I debate with people all the time. I love it. So that's my particular opinion about CM Punk. I respect him. I think he's a great promo. His match versus Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2013, is one of my favorite matches of all time. Like I think CM Punk back in 2011 had a chance to be a megastar with the Summer of Punk. I always say that to y'all. I think he had a big chance, but it didn't pan out that way. And I think that his acts over the past couple of years with AEW and his attitude, it's been unprofessional. And I hope it's not the same thing again, like Carlton was saying. But I hope it doesn't end that way, but it probably will. And for someone to be so I don't want to say diva-like, entitled, for someone to be so entitled, if I heard Roman Reigns doing that, I would hate it, but I'd be like, I get it. He's the top dude. He's the top guy. He's headlined like 7 WrestleManias now or whatever. Punk isn't that guy, and never will be.
I can say this right before we get off the topic. I'll just say this: if you're gonna laugh at the analogy, but you'll understand where I'm coming from. When Stone Cold left, he was the top guy. When he walked out, he was the top guy. But when he came back, he backed it up and still did his job and did his thing when he came back and made it happen. Right now, CM Punk reminds me of Ben Simmons. Now, why? Why you say that? Here's why. Because when CM Punk left the WWE, he wasn't the top guy. He was right in the mid-range, but he was upset. He didn't like the way it was, and he left. Just like Ben Simmons. He didn't like the way things were. He wasn't the top guy, even though he wanted to be, and he took his ball and left. He went to the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets is AEW for CM Punk. And what happened there? He went to AEW, went there, didn't do his job as great, even though they gave him the whole red carpet. And what happened? He picked it up and he left again. Just like Ben Simmons. He went to Brooklyn, gave him the red carpet. He still, oh, my back, and he left. Okay, why? Because it's not California. Okay? He's entitled. He feels entitled. Ben Simmons feels entitled just like CM Punk. And I get upset. So if you have to do an analogy, that's where I put it in. And Ben, you can block me too if you like, because I know what I said. I stand by it. You just carry the hell on.
All right. Well, with that said, anyone hears this and has their opinions, just reach out to us and we'll definitely share our thoughts back. So with that said about CM Punk, how does everyone feel about and the pay-per-view tonight with Forbidden Door tonight? And since we're on this topic of AEW, how does everyone feel about the current state of AEW? I was saying into a little bit of the brainstorming that we found out that AEW's so far for Wembley Stadium that their gate is second to it's 8.35 million in terms of gate numbers in terms of the millions, which is second to WrestleMania 32 so far, and the pay-per-view isn't until later in the summer. So people around the world, there's an audience clearly for AEW, and they're doing their thing. So how do you all feel about the current state? Like how can is it truly WWE competition? Is it second? Is it above? Is it ever a chance of catching WWE ever? I don't think so, but do y'all think so? Are the storylines really good? Does it capture your attention? Do y'all even care? What do you feel about the current state of AEW?
No, I think AEW's at a good spot, but I mean the numbers that they're going to be in London, it doesn't shock me because they only see wrestling live. They only see a live event probably like once every 3 years.
Right.
So the time that it comes out, it's just like when the NFL started going out there.
Right.
It doesn't matter what team it is, it's going to be sold out because they're not used to seeing it.
That's
so
true.
Because AEW's out there, if WWE went out there, well, they're going out there for Money in the Bank next week. The only reason why AEW's out there or WWE's out there at the same time is because they're trying to top each other. They're going to see who does what. But I honestly don't think it's an AEW or WWE thing. I think it's a wrestling thing. And anything they can get live, like they're going to get it because it's not. It's not every year that they go out. Personally,
right.
I mean, that's
not
just
like every week. Yeah, I feel good. What do you think, Reef?
In my opinion, I think AEW is far away from ever surpassing WWE. I think they would need, right, like a Cena, a Lesnar, maybe even a Ronda to some extent, someone of that magnitude. But
needle mover.
They need that kind of person. They're a great alternative to WWE, right? Like with the fast-paced wrestling, and MJF is phenomenal on the microphone every week. But again, until they get that kind of star, like that's one of the reasons why WCW beat WWE in 83 weeks, right? It's because of a lot of different things, like the cruiserweight division, but they also had the star power behind it. So if they don't have that, they're never going to beat them. So they're always going to be second fiddle.
I feel you, and it's funny you say that. You're right. It would take for the conversation to truly be a conversation, not like a hypothetical debate, like a true conversation. Like this is actually something that is, like could happen. It would take John Cena turning heel or something like that in AEW, or showing up in AEW. It would take Lesnar, and it might even take Roman Reigns after he leaves WWE, and takes a 2-year break and then comes back. It would take something like that to truly have this be oh snap, this is crazy, So.
Well, that's the same thing that happened with WCW, right? WCW did the same thing. Hogan came in, big face. He turned heel with Nash and Hall. So those are the big names: Nash, Hall, Hogan. So AEW need the same thing. They need some of the big names in WWE to come in and, do that.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, that's I love the talk right now about AEW and their the current state. I think that I agree. I think they're in a good spot. I think they're in a spot that they need to be in right now. They don't have to catch WWE. They likely never will. But for a company that's been around for 4 years now, I think they're doing a damn good job. But enough about AEW right now. Let's head to WWE. How has everyone been keeping up with the Bloodline storyline?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be honest. When a couple weeks ago, when Jay was talking to Jimmy and he was like, "So you're out," and he's like, "Well, I'm out, and I'm out too," and then he super kicked Roman Reigns, I actually yelped "Oh!" I was pumped up. Now I don't know why they did it on SmackDown, but fine. It was such a moment. I was like, wow, that just happened, and it made me think. And I put a poll up on RealTWC, our RealTWC account, and with this Bloodline storyline, which has had ups and downs, it's been going on for almost 3 years now, a good 2.5 years. Are we looking at a top 5 storyline in WWE history? And I'll even go further. Are we looking at a top 5 storyline in North American pro wrestling history? I want to park on that and see how y'all feel about that.
Okay, well, I'll just say this first, okay? So I'll just say it right off the bat. Right now, Jey Uso right now is the GOAT to me.
He's killing it.
To me, he's way better than Tribal Chief. But here's why I say that, okay? Because he took the ball, and everything Jay said was correct. Jay said that when his brother went down, DUIs and all, he took the ball and he ran with it. He ran with it. He wrestled against Roman Reigns, and he did a phenomenal job. Even that promo, he's the one that took the mic and said everything he needed to say when it came to Jimmy bringing up his real name and everything. Prom King and everything else, saying that he had to be the one to prove himself. He had to prove himself, okay? And then when he said, "I'm out too," he proved himself. He came at his brother, but he said, "I'm loyal to you because you're my brother," and kicked the crap out of Roman. Now, what happened on SmackDown, because they're all assigned to SmackDown now. Now, WWE Championship is on SmackDown. And, just like the Usos, Roman, they all on SmackDown. So that's why it happened. So I give major props to Jey Uso. To me, he is the number one MVP right now for this storyline because he's the one that brought it out. Now, with that being said, I give this storyline a top 3 in history because there's a lot of other ones that you could possibly, between the Hart Foundation, Four Horsemen, NWO. You got a lot of other factions.
You mean in terms of factions? Let me pause there. You think in terms of faction, they're a top 3 faction or a top 3 storyline? That's different.
Top three storyline.
Okay.
Because if you look at it, for example, when the NWO came out, that was one of the biggest storylines in the world. When Hogan came out, turned on everybody else for the NWO. So if you look at some of them, I mean, hell, when Triple H turned on DX, that was really big too, for real. Yeah. But this storyline, I would say top 3 because you literally kicked the champion who had over 1,000 days being champion. You kicked him in the face, even though that's your cousin. You took care of your brother, which you said, hey, you came at him. But again, Jay, he's used to being the mic. He's used to being this guy. He did it before.
Right.
Like, so this is why I feel like because of him, it's like rolling with him. So I'll say top 3. But I give Jay a lot of
top
credit.
3. That's a statement, Carlton. You're saying that the Bloodline storyline that has started in 2020, it began in 2020, like shut down a period that has gone now to this day where they're having a Civil War match with the Usos taking on Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank next week. You are saying that this storyline is a top 3 WWE storyline or a top 3 North American pro wrestling storyline that you have seen? Okay, fair enough.
This is top 3 in history, and I will also say this right before I hand it off to y'all. I will say that this is even bigger than the Shield breaking up.
Okay.
Because this is a civil war coming in. Because once the Shield broke up, I mean, look, they went on their own ways. No, this is continuing. This is a civil war with them. So because of that, I'm like, look, this is even bigger than the Shield breaking up. This is huge. Not just for their family, but for technically, like, the Bloodline has been like the top faction, the top thing you want to see on SmackDown. Yes. So because of that, you want to see what the outcome is going to be. Who's going to have the power? The Usos or Roman? So yeah, I will be quiet at this point.
All right, Reef, what do you think?
Oh man, this is tough for me because when I do my rankings for storylines, Austin McMahon comes to mind, and then Sting in the NWO, right?
Yep.
And then in the late '90s, I would say Kane and Undertaker.
That's what. That's what.
So then
you took.
I'm just thinking like maybe.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that real quick because you just brought something up. I'm sorry. I'm talking about betrayals, like the faction betrayal when they're going back against each other.
I was talking about right. I'm talking about storylines, like the Bloodline storyline, like the angle, the storyline of what's been going on, the ups and downs. When it's starting like Roman Reigns becoming the champion and saying, Jay, you got to fall in line, and then he makes him fall in line, and then Jimmy falls in line, and the Bloodline forms, and then and then Sami Zayn joins, and then everything with that, and then just the whole totality of the storyline. Do you think it's top 3?
I would still say top 3. Yeah, I would still.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
I'm sorry, Reed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's I don't know. This storyline has been great. It's like a movie.
Yeah.
So it's tough for me to, because those examples that I gave you do have like a special place in my heart.
No, immediately they popped. Yeah. You stole some of the ones I was gonna say, man. So go.
Yeah.
You mentioned some of the ones I was gonna say.
I'll say for right now, for me, I at least put it in the top 4. I would have to kind of analyze this more, but I do love the story. The story has been phenomenal, and I want to see what the ending is going to be. Like, everything has been great. Like Sammy being a part of it, and then he's out, and then Usos, them betraying Roman, and it's been great to watch SmackDown from just that standpoint. Like, I don't really even care necessarily about the actual wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, just watching that storyline, it's been great.
Awesome. Now, I'll give my 2 cents. Now, like you already mentioned a couple, but like, yeah, I'll just reiterate a little bit. A top 5 storyline. That's the question, right? So when I think storylines, yeah, I came up in the '90s, watched storylines via old tapes and stuff like that from the '80s and everything like that. It's between in WCW and WWE especially. So when I think storylines, the top ones that come to mind, as Reef said, Austin McMahon. That's not even my top, actually. This is tough for me. Sting versus NWO, where Sting they thought he turned his back on WCW, but he didn't. And then he goes at Fall Brawl in 1996. He comes in, saves the day, and then leaves because everyone had turned their back on him from WCW. And Lex Luger's like crawling, Sting, like and then Sting becomes Crow Sting, and then you don't know which way he's at. He's like attacking people randomly, coming down from the rafters, attacking people, and he doesn't say a word. And this happens for a year, and then Sting finally, like a couple months later, after going Crow, shows that he's with WCW, and there's like a year buildup for Sting versus Hulk Hogan, but it's Sting versus NWO over a course of a year, up until Starrcade 1997, when the entrances stopped between Sting and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I truly believe that might have been the best story I've ever seen in professional wrestling. Like the way that they did that, the suspense the whole way through. So that comes to mind. Kane versus Undertaker, 97, 98. I thought it was like borderline flawless. Like that was captivating pro wrestling TV. I'll go, obviously Austin versus McMahon is Austin versus McMahon. Come on. Define the Attitude Era. I have another one. I actually think Daniel Bryan versus The Authority. It was a different take on Austin versus McMahon, but I thought that, which was like kind of like the modern day boss versus employee type of thing. I felt that Daniel Bryan versus The Authority was really well executed, especially with the birth of the Yes movement. I thought that was pretty cool. And actually, so I did reset. Let me go back again. USA versus Canada, which kind of merged out of Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. The USA versus Canada, when Bret Hart turned heel after the WrestleMania 13 match, and he was getting cheered with the Hart Foundation in Canada, but booed massively in the US. I thought that was an amazing dynamic and an amazing storyline for that summer. So there's been some classic storylines over the years, and I don't know which one to kick out, but this Bloodline storyline is really making me think about like kicking out one of them. Maybe I think it has to be. I think for WWE storylines, for at least in WWE for me, it's got to be top 5. So I probably would. I don't know what I kick out, but something's got to. I can't kick out. Well, you know what? I mentioned Sting versus NWO, so that's WCW. So I mentioned the 4 other WWE ones. That would be 5th or 4th. So you got Austin McMahon, Kane versus Undertaker, Authority, NWO Authority, USA versus Canada, Bloodline. So off the top of my head, yeah, in WWE, it would be top 5. Now all of wrestling, throwing in Sting at NWO or something else I'm sure we've all missed. I don't know. It's tough. So that's what I got.
For me, I would kick out. I would put the Bloodline in the spot of where Daniel Bryan and the Authority is. The reason why I say that is because fair. the one thing about Sting and the NWO is that the longevity of it. Sting for a year, like he didn't speak for a year. Like a whole year, he didn't speak.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, that's 365 days. You didn't say a word. Like, because of the longevity of it, I'm like, look, this storyline is getting crazier and crazier. Same thing. Daniel Bryan, I feel like it went like a snap. Like, you gave it like a few months. It went quick. Yeah. He finally got it, and then he was gone. Like, this one, because it's over 1,000 days being champion with Roman, he then went back and forth. Like, you saw the issue with Jay, and then Jimmy started coming, and then Jimmy went out, and then Jay came back, fought his cousin, came back in line. to just do it again. Then you got Sammy coming in, being Uzi. Like, all of this came in. Like, I'm like, look, and this was over a span of what, almost 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, because of the fact that they can keep the storyline going for that long and right now continuing.
It's earned it. It's earned it, man. I got to be real.
That's the only reason why I would slide it in at 3, because of the way it's continuing to evolve. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And to bridge off that, you know, I will say, when it's lost steam, they found ways to spark it up again. Before Sami Zayn became a part of it, it was kind of being like, all right, like, you know, this is all right, we get it. This is kind of getting, you know, bring The Rock in to make it more interesting or something, right? But then when Sami Zayn joined, it was like amazing. He was like the MVP of the year, arguably, when he was joining it. And then that dissipates, and then, you know, everything with Jey Uso, who the Bloodline storyline started with, and now he's already, you know, he's all the way to the near end of it, and you know, it's just been incredible. Like, it's been a roller coaster, and I just want to say, y'all, like, not to prep up like our era coming up, but I will say this, you know, we're seeing this and we're all amazed by it, but we were spoiled, man. Like, I'm just saying, look, I don't want to be like the old head coming at, you know, the different era, like the current era at all. I don't want to come across like that at all. But I just want to say this, like, when you hear people talk about the storylines, notice how Reef earlier said he didn't even care. Reef, you said you don't really care about even about the wrestling. The wrestling is good, but you're saying that, like, you know, it's so captivating that it's just an extra awesome dynamic to everything because the story is so good and it grabs your attention.
Right.
That's why people like the Attitude Era. That is why people like Ruthless Aggression, because we saw that we saw I'm not saying it was as great as the Bloodline all the way through, but you had the big storylines and you had the mid storylines carrying week in and week out every week through that era. So imagine, everyone's talking about the Bloodline right now and how great it is, but imagine you had Austin McMahon, you had Sting vs. NWO, you had Taker vs. Kane. That was all going on within a year at the same time. Think about that. Like, so I just want to say, like, we were spoiled because this is a great storyline and everything like that. And I think it's so refreshing because it took long enough, but something has really captivated audiences to the next level. And that, you know, it's making me like feel like, oh man, like, yeah, like this is what was. I'm not saying this is like the Attitude Era. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the richness of the storyline is, you know, captivating, you know, people like us who've been watching it for years, you know. So testament to everyone involved with that. You know, the most important part now is how they stick the landing. How do y'all feel about that? Where do y'all think this should go now? You know, Jay, you know, it's clear The Rock isn't going to, you know, it's clear that The Rock probably is going to be, it's the storyline where it actually made sense for The Rock to come back. It actually made sense for it. He's the only guy that can tell Roman Reigns to know his role and shut his mouth, and it's not going to be a joke. Like, everyone, you know, yeah, even to Roman Reigns, who's like, you know, had been a champion for 1,000 days. No one honestly would, if The Rock and Roman Reigns were in the same ring or be in the same ring together, like, you know, it's like, okay, Roman, you got to bow down to The Rock. Like that, it actually would make sense. You know what I mean? So
he still has a shot, though. I mean, because
he's still credible.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's still credible. He's not just, but the Rock is the only one with the actual. He can actually realistically, and it would make sense within the confines of a storyline, tell Roman Reigns that, like, no, he's not head of the table. He is. Like, that's what we all wanted. But since that's not going to happen, you know, in my opinion at least, you know, how should they end this? We thought Cody Rhodes should have won the championship, and that should have ended it. But it seems like that didn't happen. Cody Rhodes is right now away from that. You know, who knows if they're going to have that rematch eventually. You know, so should it be Jay? Should they end this at SummerSlam? And it's Jay taking on Roman Reigns for the title, and Jay wins, and the Bloodline storyline's done? Do you think it should still end with the Cody Rhodes dethroning Roman Reigns somehow? With the latest direction, how do y'all feel about that? How do you think this should end?
I think slowly they should start to break up. So like, I think they're doing that now, right, with the Usos gone.
Right.
And then
Right.
I think the next person obviously is going to be Solo. I think Sammy or maybe the Usos might have pointed that out that he's eventually going to leave. So then I don't know, maybe around like Survivor Series,
Okay.
like time, like they may they may do something with like those two. And then I think now I think it's maybe a little bit more obvious that like it's going to be Cody and Roman next year. I do want to see The Rock, but I think it's going to be those two, which I'll be fine with, because Cody does deserve that moment. But I think the only person left after all this is said is done is going to be Roman and Heyman.
Right.
And
right.
I think Cody wins next year, WrestleMania 40 in Philly, right? And maybe afterwards, like the Usos and Solo say something like, "See, you really did need us." So
right.
That's how I think it's going to go. Everybody's going to gradually like leave, and then Cody is going to be fairly so.
We'll see if that happens, man. Carlton, how do you feel? What do you think about that?
No, I think that's legit. They're gonna break up somehow. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Jay would go against Roman for the title, and somehow Sami Zayn came out of nowhere and just screwed him. You know, and just said, "I finally got you," and gave it to his closest Us, who would be Jay. I think that would be great. I think SummerSlam is going to be a culmination of something, but Survivor Series to me is going to be the biggest thing. Survivor Series is going to build up Royal Rumble to where it could be, you know, you never know. I mean, Jay could be the champion and Jimmy could go in there. What if Jimmy wins the Royal Rumble and Jay's champion? Holy hell. Like, you just never know. Yeah.
Right.
You know, and he could go for the title, you know, depending on what Cody does too. They have a lot of different ways to go, but I do feel as though it would be Roman versus like Jay or somebody for the title, you know. And I feel like Sami Zayn somehow, some way is going to be somewhat, you know, in the mix. Or Sikoa has to choose between his brothers, and he screws Roman, chooses his brothers, and then Jay could be the new tribal chief, like Heyman said. So you never know.
Okay.
There's so many ways they can do this.
It's a top 5, arguably top 3 storyline ever. We get it. It's WWE. They've done and everyone involved have done we can all agree that they've done a solid job on this. You know, overall with the twists and turns, and you know, hopefully they stick the landing, because even, you know, we brought up Sting versus NWO. They didn't stick the landing with that. That's why I said up until a certain point. I think it's the best I've ever seen, and they didn't quite do that. So you got to stick the landing. So we'll see what happens with that. So has anyone here been keeping up with NXT? Well, this past Tuesday on NXT, I tuned in and I noticed Baron Corbin was having a promo with Carmelo Hayes. Carlton, did you happen to catch this?
No, I didn't.
Well, you all need to go and trust me, anyone watching who didn't see it, get a chance to watch NXT. Watch Baron Corbin and his promo against facing off against Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is solid on the mic. He's a decent promo. Baron Corbin, I watched it and I was like, what? He just completely sunned Carmelo Hayes, and Carmelo Hayes gave it back to him, but Corbin was just on another level. So I'll stop it there. Like, check out that promo. Anyone that hasn't seen it, check it out, because Baron Corbin, I don't think he's that really known for his mic skills. If I'm being correct here, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's, I did maestro on the mic or anything like that, but
I did hear that this was one of the best promos he's had in his career.
Yes. He was confident. he completely just, he went big on him, being like, I've been at WrestleManias, I've been on the main show, I've taken on this person, I've won this, I've won that, and it was the way he delivered it was pretty on point. So I'll just say that. Money in the Bank is next week. And I think we all have a favorite for the actual Money in the Bank match. The Money in the Bank match this year it's been interesting because no one in the match has won a world championship. So there's an element of surprise with this one coming up. I think we all can agree that LA Knight was probably the odds-on favorite of winning this match. He has the crowd behind him. He's been losing and then finally got the Money in the Bank briefcase. It seems like it's been setting up that he's going to win Money in the Bank. And then Logan Paul came back. Logan Paul returned. Do you think, and it made me think like, okay, we all were thinking like maybe LA Knight can win this match, but do you think Logan Paul coming back and being revealed to being added to the match, do you think that that's going to take away from LA Knight, or do you think this is a smokescreen? LA Knight's still going to win, or no, Logan Paul is winning Money in the Bank now?
Now, real quick, who's all the participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match again? Just so we all know.
We got here. We got LA Knight. We got Logan Paul.
I'm about to say, is Finn Balor?
No, he's taking on Seth Rollins for the title. Game moment. We got Money in the Bank ladder match. Damian Priest, Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Butch, Logan Paul, LA Knight.
I think LA Knight's going to be the one to win it. I mean, Logan Paul at this point right now reminds me of Sheldon Benjamin or a Kofi Kingston in regards to they're using him and his athleticism in some of the biggest matches. Like Royal Rumble, you would always see Kofi do crazy stuff. Ladder and any ladder match, Money in the Bank, TLC match, you see Kofi Kingston going crazy. I think they're using Logan Paul to do that. I don't know if Logan Paul deserves the briefcase because LA Knight personally put in more work than him. But in this day and age of WWE, it really doesn't matter what you do. If you're the biggest name, you're going to do whatever you got to do.
We know you're paying with that with Ronda.
Yeah, I know. We're not going to go there. This unified tag team champion trash. I'm sorry. But, I mean, the bigger the name, the bigger the opportunity. And honestly, out of respect, no offense to Ronda Rousey, but Logan Paul has put in the work. Like, you can see he trains, he does the job, he comes in. He hasn't had one bad match yet, knock on wood, because he's been putting in some spectacular matches, even in some of the biggest stages, which is at Mania, some of the biggest pay-per-views. So it wouldn't shock me if he won the Money in the Bank, but I want LA Knight to win. But if Logan Paul, it wouldn't be bad either. I wouldn't mind seeing him all of a sudden cashing in on Roman last minute randomly. Like, It would be great. It would be fun to see that.
Okay. Reef, what do you think, man?
I think I'm going to still go with LA Knight.
Okay.
I like Logan Paul. I think he's great in the ring. I think he's, believe it or not, I think he's pretty decent on the microphone. But I think LA Knight is just that much better in terms of charisma, in terms of just I think just overall his delivery. So I think they can't I think they can't miss this opportunity, in my opinion. Like, it's literally like the crowd is behind him. They're saying,
I'm about to say, this past week he got one of the biggest pops in his career, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that was a big pop.
He's over, man. He's over. People like him.
This is the time to give it to him.
And then the Raw we went to in Philly, like he got a crazy reaction from the Philly crowd. So, like I said, it would be just a missed opportunity if they don't do it right now. Like, I'm not saying he has to win them. He has to cash in immediately. He could literally wait a year if he wants, but yeah, like this is it's literally right here. He checks every box. WWE, do not miss this opportunity. I'm saying it right now. Don't miss it.
WWE is historic for missing great opportunities. Like
That's
Cody,
true.
but I'm gonna leave that alone. Not gonna.
I mean, yeah, they messed up I mean, Reef, you're saying like don't miss this opportunity, but I still think the argument can be made that they missed a golden opportunity at WrestleMania with Cody. But we'll get off that because we talked about that before. We could rant about that. I get it. I think that LA Knight. I want LA Knight to win too, but I could totally see Logan Paul winning, and I can see him cashing in on the winner of Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, which brings me to Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Now, I'm not sure if y'all saw the promo between those two a couple weeks ago, but it was actually a great promo. It was unfortunately ruined by the fact that the crowd kept singing that damn Seth Rollins song. Like they went. I think they went overboard with it though. Like it was like Balor actually had some good things to say, because if y'all remember, Finn Balor defeated Seth Rollins for the first undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship in 2016, but Seth Rollins injured Finn Balor.
Right.
If y'all remember, leading up to that, Finn Balor got a clean win over Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. He was being shotgunned, like with the demon look and everything like that. Like he was pretty much chosen. I don't know if he was chosen as the guy, but he was chosen as a top tier main eventer. And then he gets injured by Seth Rollins with that he did that buckle bomb, but it was on the it was outside and it separated his shoulder, right? He finished the match, but he had to relinquish the title the next night. So ever since then, Finn Balor hasn't quite been the same. So that's what the promo was about. He said that he took everything away from him. And I was looking at that and I'm like, you know what? He has a good point. And with the momentum that, the Judgment Day has, and I want to also say this, like when Edge got kicked out the Judgment Day, I thought it was done, but they have completely shut me up. They have been killing it. Outside of the Bloodline stuff, the Judgment Day with Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, aka Mommy, and Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic, yeah.
They've probably been the second best product in the WWE right now.
But it's not because of Finn.
It's not because of Finn. It's not because of Finn. I agree, but I'm saying he's still a part of it, and he's not taking away from anything. So, with that said,
I think he is.
Should Finn?
I think he is.
All right, hold on. Okay, we'll get to that. So, do you think that Finn Balor? Do you think Finn Balor should maybe beat Seth Rollins?
No.
Because Reef, what do you think?
He's not even. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Reef. I'm sorry.
No, I think I'm with Carlton. No, at least not yet. I think Seth has been
just won it.
No, I was gonna say I think Seth has been a little disrespected in terms of like the World Championship. A little bit, just not having it, in my opinion, a little bit more. Obviously, Roman Reigns plays a part in that, right?
Right.
For like 1,000 days or whatever. So I think maybe a little bit of a lengthy run with Seth for a little bit. Maybe Seth loses it at, I hate to bring this up again, but maybe Survivor Series again. So.
All right, Carlton, go ahead.
Yeah. No, the only reason why I say no to Finn, and don't get me wrong, I think Finn is a tremendous athlete. Again, he deserved a rematch for the Universal Championship when he came back. He never got it. But in regards to him, and I'm just going to put it out there, he's not even the main guy to me in his faction that he's in right now. Like, no offense, like Roman Reigns is the top guy. Honestly, the only reason why people really watch
Judgment Day?
Yeah, the Judgment Day is because of, honestly, no offense, but I love when they boo Dominic. Like, people just watch him just to boo him, but Rhea Ripley, honestly, has been the one that stepped up and took charge. Like, everybody else sees it. Like, she's the champion. She has the championship right now. Like, she's been running the show personally. I think
killing it. She's been killing it.
She reminds me of China a little bit. Like, when it comes to DX, but everybody looked at DX as Triple H was the guy with Shawn Michaels, but China was the one. She's the enforcer. Same thing with Rhea Ripley. I just think Finn, because he's not even the top guy in Judgment Day personally. How are you going to be the top guy?
Priest, you can argue Damian Priest has stepped up more than he has
right.
too.
He has.
You could argue it. You could argue it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my opinion, if you're not even the top guy in your faction, you can't be the top guy in the company. No offense to Finn. And again, he's a tremendous athlete. But if you have to put Finn versus Seth, even though I agree with Sharif, Seth to me is a little bit disrespected. He won the World Heavyweight Championship. He's trying to bring a new championship back into the company on his shoulders.
Right.
And he even went on NXT and did that. But when it comes to Finn, I don't think Finn can do it the way Seth can, if that makes sense. He's too over.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I respect that. And I think that, it was just something that just crossed my mind because the story is there. And I think that this went on a little longer. Like if this wasn't the first big angle that Seth Rollins was a part of after winning the title, like if this was like 6 months like down the line, I would be like maybe they should actually consider Finn taking the title off him for like a little bit, at least for a transitional run. I don't know, but you're right. I agree with you all. They're probably not going to do that, but it just got me thinking. And also, I know we just kind of segued away from Money in the Bank. I do want to say it would be interesting to me if Damian Priest won, and that created some turmoil within Judgment Day. So I actually wouldn't mind if they went that route too. I think Damian Priest has really stepped it up too, and he's been low key killing it. So
okay. So hey, I got a random question for you, JB, and it just popped in my head. And I wanted your opinion on it. And Sharif, you can answer too. What if Edge was in Finn Balor's spot? What if they didn't take Edge out and Edge was going against Seth Rollins for the championship and he was still the leader of Judgment Day? Would it be a bigger hype? Like, would the storyline be better?
Edge.
Yeah.
I don't know if the storyline will be better, but the hype will be bigger because it's Edge. Edge has a name value in WWE. He's been, I think later on.
I'd be better, yeah. I think. Yeah, storyline would probably be better.
It probably will be better. I just can't, I don't know. But the hype will be definitely better. That's not even a debate. It's Edge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Judgment Day would. I think they would have a better storyline too, with Edge still as the leader. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect Finn no other way, but that's just what I mean. Like if you just insert somebody else into his spot right now, with everybody else, with Dominic and everybody else, would it be a bigger hype? Just because, and obviously Edge would be the name of the faction, and you can kind of see the difference with him going for the championship than Finn. Like that's what I wanted to ask.
I feel you. I agree. I hear you. It's Edge.
Yeah, I know.
And we're gonna get more. There's gonna be a little bit more about Edge coming up, but I wanted to ask in regards to Seth Rollins. Did y'all hear about the rumor that Vince McMahon intervened about the open challenge between that Seth Rollins was going to have? Apparently, there's a rumor that it was supposed to be that the open challenge was supposed to happen, and it was supposed to be against I don't know if it was against Gargano or against somebody else. But apparently, the rumors that it was Vince interfered and made Finn Balor attack, like ripped up the script and told Finn Balor that he should attack, changed it to Finn Balor attacking Seth Rollins to open up the show. Did y'all hear about that? And if y'all heard about that, do you think that there's some credence to that, or do you think it's just basically a BS rumor?
I didn't hear anything about it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear anything either. But I don't know. If that's true, that's Vince just being fucking weird. Like, like a 3-hour show.
Yeah,
because you can still have the match and then have Finn attack him afterwards. Like it's
right. Just saying, I don't know. I was reading a little bit. We haven't gotten the true answer. We've been told that Triple H is running everything, but there also has been some back and forth with that behind the scenes. Like, is he really though? You know what I mean? So but that's something we could talk about another. We could go full at length at another time.
But But I thought
Carlton,
Vince had no. I thought Vince had no control over. I thought that was just Triple H. But you know what?
That's what we thought,
But
Carlton.
it's Vince. It's Vince. I don't care. He can sell the company to whoever he wants. Okay, it's still his baby. He can say whatever and do whatever he wants. And if Triple H is still there, he gonna listen to his daddy. No offense.
Woo! Okay. All right. Yeah. So, you mentioned Edge, in that hypothetical scenario with Seth Rollins. It's Edge's 25th anniversary. So, let's take some time to talk about the Rated R Superstar. 25 years of the Rated R Superstar. He debuted in 1998. I remember seeing the segments for him. This mysterious enigma Edge, you think you know me, looking like a madman, secluded madman in the streets. I remember all that stuff. He's had a lot of moments. Like, let's talk about Edge and let's salute Edge about his amazing wrestling career. Carlton, let's start off with you. What's your favorite Edge match and Edge moment, or Edge moment?
I can say, well, first, since we're doing crew talk, I would cheers the Edge. There we go. I will say the match. I love the TLC match between the Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys. That to me was it was revolutionary. One of the things about Edge that I love is that he always was revolutionary. He always knew how to change his character. He came back a few times, especially he was with the Brood. He came back, and then even with the Judgment Day, even came back then and changed his whole, persona. But I can say that was the biggest match that I know that showed me how that match showed me that triple threat TLC match. That showed me how much Edge really loves wrestling and how much he'll put his body on the line for everybody else. That was one of the biggest things for me. The biggest moment I can say is Edge's return at the Royal Rumble. And I know that he worked really hard to come back for that. And I've seen some of the backstage, footage and everybody crying and him coming back. Like that moment, I never forget that moment. I remember we flipped crap. I didn't believe it when I heard the music come out. We went crazy. But to me, that was the biggest moment because before that, the biggest moment was him laying down the World Heavyweight Championship down on SmackDown, obviously, after he won it at WrestleMania, or I think that was Raw. Was it Raw? Yeah, I think it was Raw.
He won it.
No,
when he laid down the title. Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
he announced it on Raw, but he laid it down on SmackDown. Yeah, so when he laid down the title, that was big for him and him leaving, and I know that was tough, but for him to work hard and do surgeries and come back and that moment, I know that moment to him to show his kids and everybody else that, hey, he's back and he's Edge. That was the biggest moment for me, and I was happy for him. Me as a wrestling fan, seeing where he was to now, that was the biggest thing for me. And I'm happy for him. So that was my moment.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Reef, go ahead.
So for me, I think it's two, right? I think to go back to Carlton with the whole TLC thing. So for moments, I would say WrestleMania 17 when he speared Jeff Hardy off the ladder. To me, that defines what a WrestleMania
is. Yeah. Etched in the brain.
Yep. Exactly. And then the other one I would say was when he cashed in for the first time, right? He was the first person to cash in. So he kind of paved the way for kind of the other people to kind of do it.
Oh, yeah, Cena. That's painful.
Huge moment. In terms of match, for me personally, I would say there was a match that I think often gets overlooked or forgotten about. He fought Eddie on a match on SmackDown in 2002.
Oh wow!
That match, in my opinion, the greatest match, at least on SmackDown. Right?
Wow!
It was a no disqualification match. It wasn't that long of a match. It might have been 20 minutes or so, but they tore the house down. And I'll just say go back and watch it. But it ended with Eddie doing the execution on Eddie from the ladder. So it was it was a crazy match that everybody should see.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it just for the conversation we're talking about right now, Edge has spanned eras, and it's crazy. He's really been like a monstrous part, even though even like he already had a top tier Hall of Fame career before he retired in 2011, and he, you know, we didn't have him for 9 years, and then like he comes back and it still kills it, you know. I think for me, in terms of moments, his cash in, his cash in at in 2000 and in 2000 was it 2006. I thought that was crazy. I think I'll throw in one that wasn't mentioned. When he speared Mick Foley onto the burning table, that was crazy. At WrestleMania 22, that was just insane. I think in terms of matches, I think he lost this match, but I really think that his match against Undertaker at WrestleMania 24 was a really good match and a very underrated WrestleMania main event. It was a good match. It was a really good match and a moment because Edge actually like main evented WrestleMania. It was back and forth. There were times, you know, around that moment, like you were wondering like, oh man, like it was still that suspense of could Taker actually lose going on back then. And I remember when Edge, if y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the big moment in the match is Edge speared Taker, but Taker turned it into the submission at the end.
Yeah.
Like it was like oh snap, like Edge really speared Taker. Oh no, he reversed it. Like the match was pretty exciting. So I think that's one of Edge's most like underrated matches. And obviously, you know, the live sex segment with Edge on Monday Night Raw was like actually one of the highest rated Monday Night Raw segments outside like of all time. Like at least it was definitely the highest rated since the Attitude Era. What's up?
Yeah. That made my teenagerhood right there. I remember. Shout out to Lita, by the way. Thank you.
Shout out to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think that was the highest rated like post Attitude Era like Raw segment for a long time. So, you know, Edge, RealTWC salutes you. You know, you killed it. You have, you know, since coming back, you've been a breath of fresh air. You've also, you know, I also like how Edge hasn't been. He could have easily just said, "Give me a title," easy. He could have easily just said, "Give me a title." He's just kind of just been there supporting, been there. You know, he knows that he doesn't have to win a championship. He's already made his mark. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, he's had so many moments, and you know, I'm happy that Edge has, you know, had a second chance, and he's in better shape. He looks awesome, and he's been killing it. So
is he on Raw? He's on Raw, right?
I believe he's on Raw now. Yeah,
I think he's on Raw.
You know what? I would love for him to get one last, and I think they're probably going to give him one last title run like they did Shawn Michaels, you know, with the World Heavyweight Championship. But I would love to see him win that. He never lost it, so for him to hold that title one last time, I would love for him to have it.
Yeah,
you know, because he deserves it.
Yeah. So once again, salute to you, Edge. RealTWC loves you. We all saw you at WrestleMania. It's been awesome to see you live again. See you throughout the years. You've been, you know, he's been the utmost professional in his, you know, in his tenure in WWE. You know, and he's made it. He's killed it in some acting roles too. I watched The Flash, and I remember Edge being on some episodes as a villain. And I know he was in Vikings too, which I heard was a good show. I never watched it, but I heard it's a really good show. So yeah, love you. We all love you, Edge. Well, that's it. That's all we have. That's all we really had to talk about for this week. This week's edition of Crew Talk. Does anyone else want to bring anything up before we end this?
Just want to say WrestleMania 40, Philadelphia.
The countdown to WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 40 is coming to Philadelphia, and we'll be ready. And we hope that everyone else is, because it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be crazy. A lot of things are gonna be going down for it, and you know, us here at RealTWC can't wait to we cannot wait to let everybody know about what's going to be going down on our end, and other people that, you know, our colleagues and other people. We've there's going to be some really cool things going on that we're revving up and preparing. So until next time,
Oh yeah. One more thing. Shout out the Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. They renewed their 5-year marriage anniversary.
Oh yeah,
Their vows.
yeah.
Shout out to them. That was a beautiful.
Yes.
The little montage that I saw on Bianca Belair's page, and just want to give a shout out to y'all. Congratulations from TWC.
Power couple.
5 years. Keep doing the black excellence and doing the best.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And of course, we support
fans.
y'all. Obviously, yeah, big time. Had to get that out there before we roll out.
All day. Oh, well, I was about to end it, but we can talk about Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. Montez, I'll tell you right now, I think that y'all should be the top couple I think y'all are the top couple in WWE, but I think Montez should they tried Montez out for you notice that there was a little run with him doing some single matches.
Yeah.
I think Montez I would love to see Montez take on Seth Rollins for the title a couple times. That'd be great.
You know what? He would be my pick for Rumble. I would love to see him win the Royal Rumble.
Oh, that'd be great. I think Montez, he checks off all the boxes. We know for damn sure, and it's been validated and proven that Bianca Belair checks off all the boxes. She's, great look, great in the ring, great charisma, great on the she's really good on the mic. She's just been, remarkable. One of the top tier, women one of the top tier wrestlers, period, in the company. Congrats to them. Good call, Carlton. Like they've been, y'all been doing a great job, and can continue the excellence, continue the black excellence, and setting a standard for all wrestlers in the WWE, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, if no one else has anything else to add, till next time, everybody. Crew Talk, RealTWC, signing off.
Peace.
See you later.